Hey guys, it's just about time for spring pike, so let's talk about one of the most basic lures that just about everybody's thrown for pike: spoons. I'm going to start with, if I can dig one out of here, I'm going to start with your classics. This one's dirty, it's been used a lot, but your Williams, your hammered finish, regular gold one. Can't really go wrong with these. I mean, depending on how deep you find fish, but casting and reeling these just is very, very effective. Excuse me. Chuck and wind. But two things that I do to increase the efficacy of how these are fished. I put a split ring and a big swivel. Can you see that? No, silly thing. There we go. Okay. Big swivel. Obviously, they'll twist your line right up. It's a spoon. It's going to spin like a propeller when you're retrieving it. So, guys, put a swivel on. Save yourself a lot of headache. A lot of times, I don't run a leader on these. I run bigger mono as a leader, or straight mono sometimes works fine. It really depends on the rod and reel that you're using. I like a medium heavy. I like something about 7 feet, and I like something that's fast or moderate fast. I want to be able to drive the hooks home without running into issues with the action being too fast to absorb head shakes and jumps. I mean, pike are volatile and nasty, and they can wreck all your gear. The other thing that I've been doing a lot for probably a decade now is running sidewash hooks on my spoons. So I get really good hookups. These are a big hook. The fish don't have other points to leverage off of and twist and, you know, get them undone. Like, that one hook can turn quite a bit. When it's only one hook point, they can't really use the other ones to pry it away. And I find that I get fish on and off easier. Like, I hook into them really well, but I can also, like, take them off and release them well with less damage. I'm not ripping gills out like they get hooked in the lip where they're supposed to. For some reason, for me, single hooks work really well. I tend to just, when I'm straight reeling a spoon and I'm not popping it and letting it flutter, I tend to reel in to weight when I feel a strike, and then I set the hook. That makes all the difference with getting them really, really stuck. Is you take all the tension out and you just drive it home. So if you want to catch some pike, or it's your first year pike fishing in the spring, grab some like 3-inch spoons, some, you know, Williams, some assorted Williams pack, something like that. It's the tried and true. I mean, the other ones are, and I've got them in here, is your Red Devils and your 5 of Diamonds. Len Thompson spoon is just as good as a Williams. And you know, a couple other favorites. These aren't very big. Like, this one's cool because it's a blue fox. It's a little more cupped. This has a really wide, kind of really good scooping type action, and then it falls back in on itself once in a while when it gets to the outside edge. And it's labeled with the weight, so this weighs 5/8 of an ounce. So you don't need big, heavy gear to pike fish with spoons if, you know, if you're just getting out into it. These little ones, the trebles are still on. I tend to leave them on for smaller spoons. I find if you're not getting into 3 or 4 inch, those sidewash hooks are just too big. Now, if you're looking for bigger pike and you're only fishing pike, I really recommend that you get into, well, some bigger spoons. These are classics. Can you see that? It's like, I really recommend you get into these. These are the way to go. Like 4 or 5 inch, you know, size. The what's this one? A 70 Williams wobbler and a 70. These are going to be your baits that maybe scare away a couple of smaller fish, but get into the big ones. They're what you're going to catch probably the most fish on. It's a big enough meal that you're going to get them to eat it. And then the other thing that I find is kind of important is you're getting longer casts with more weight. So you need to make sure your rod can handle it, but you don't need a huge rod to throw these. They're not that heavy. They're still like 7/8 of an ounce, give or take. With the longer throws, you obviously get a longer cast, you get more time in the water in front of fish. But the other thing that's kind of important with these big ones is they're heavier and they're bigger, but they displace more water. So they don't tend to sink that much faster than a smaller spoon. So you don't have to reel them faster because they're going to get snagged in the bottom. You can burn them at the surface. It works really good. But on days where the fish aren't eating that, you know, reel them nice, slow, kind of steady reel and give it a pop once in a while. Just to kind of have it just do that big dance, and then once in a while it'll do something crazy and kind of get back into it, and you'll get those strikes from fish that are just following. They can't make up their mind. Adding that little bit of, but I don't impart action with them using the rod. I tend to reel the action into them, you know, and just work them nice and slow. So that's something that I'd highly recommend. And it's about the right size, you know, get something that's probably the length of your finger into your palm somewhere. I've got big hands. You know, if you've got small hands, get something that's your span. It's about the right size to get in a big pike. Your regular casting and flutter spoons are the way to go. If you're really serious about pike fishing, you want to break it down, you want to get into deep water fishing or fishing on ledges and really working the fish when they're keyed off, when they don't want to eat, when it's nice and sunny and the water's fairly clear, then you might want to go into something a little bit crazier. And this is something that I fish a lot, but it's also something that, like, I'm not delusional, it doesn't always work. I get into these huge, like, ultra magnum extra heavy spoons. So I've got them in, you know, the 2 colors. I've got the big, huge 5 of diamonds. I'm just running a 1 Siwash hook on this one. The other one doesn't have a hook because I took it off. And then I'm getting into, in the same category, I'm getting into these like ultra magnums. So these are Lucky Strikes, but they're the extra heavy. So this is about the same size as some of their other spoons, but twice as thick and heavy. These will go deep. They'll cast really far. You can reel them a little bit quicker and they'll still stay down deep. So that can be important depending on the day. But also you can like pop them and let them flutter and they'll fish a lot deeper than a regular one. So if the fish are still kind of sitting on the bottom, keyed off, looking up, waiting for, excuse me, I've got a tangle here, waiting for a good meal to come by, those bigger spoons work, and especially these big light ones. These you can fish super slow. They take a long, long time to sink because they displace a lot of water. These sink way slower, I find, than like a little one. And there's a big difference in size. And your sink rate's about the same. So throw one of these, you'll see that it'll just kind of flutter and glide real wide. And this gets bit when a lot of things won't. So if you want to catch some big pike and you're not sure what else to try, I mean, it's a budget-friendly option. Spoons aren't that much money. They last forever. I've got some from when I was a kid in here, and they just still catch fish. They don't really have to be brand name. Make sure that you've got good strong hooks. Make sure you got good split rings and swivels, and you'll catch fish on them. That's about it. I mean, everybody should try fishing spoons for pike in the spring. It is a ton of fun. They're easy to fish. People that are new, as long as you can cast and reel, you know, get people that are new out, and they might catch the biggest fish they've ever caught on a spoon fishing for pike in the spring. So for pike opener, that's a technique that I recommend. I'd be targeting, what am I targeting? I'm going to be targeting creek mouths. I'm going to be targeting bays with weed lines, like big bays, not stuff that's just like a little bit of a dip. And then weed edges and channels in lakes and stuff. Look for something thick enough that a fish can hide in, but not so thick or all the way up to the surface that you can't fish your spoons through. They'll come up to eat them. So, yeah, start with creeks, inflows and outflows. and then work your way out into points and bays, and that'll be about where the fish are sitting that time of year. And let me know how you guys make out. Thanks for watching.